I just got a haircut. Well,
I got my hair today too. So.
Wow,
I
welcome.
look very dark.
Yeah. Well, hey, welcome to Haircut Talk with the leaders of the Student Yosef Club.
You got it.
The Black Gold Podcast. No, we're live. We're live now. We're a few minutes late, but it's okay because here we are. I had a little technical snafu, but it's all good. And so we posted on Instagram and Facebook and Twitter that we wanted to do a live stream with the new leadership of the Student Yosef Club because ultimately it's in my best interest and in Charles' best interest and Yosef Club members, App State fans, that we cultivate a new, strong group of diehard fans as students that continue their fandom well after they've graduated. And ideally, immediately after they graduate, they just continue on. And so we want Student Yosef Club involvement. We want Student Yosef Club to be a desirable club to be a part of. More than just parents signing them up at orientation and whatever. We want it to be cool. We want it to be a little sticky, right? We want people to want to stick around and hang out and have that stick around factor. That's a big deal. So we're happy to have you guys. So why don't you guys, Susie and Landon, why don't you introduce yourselves and tell us what you're all about?
Well, my name is Susie Hanabi, and I'm the president-elect for the Student Yosef Club. That's very exciting. And
my name is Landon Judy. I'm the vice president-elect for the Student Yosef Club. Very excited to partner with Susie, Madam President. That's so nice to say.
No, not Madam. You're not Madam Vice President.
No,
Mr. Vice President.
Vice President.
I'm sorry, my bad.
It's just really an honor to get ready to get going. We want to bring a lot of good initiatives to the Student Yosef Club and kick it off and get going.
And it's about time. It's about time we had solid leadership at the president position of the Student Yosef Club. It's about time.
It's got to start somewhere.
I think Matthew, Lance, and Chase Cross have done a fantastic job the past 4 or 5 years. So.
Oh, Susie, let us rag on these boys. Come on, give us that ability. Give us that ability to rag on them a little bit.
They've made efforts.
They actually have done a whole lot, so.
Right.
Yeah.
But that's not as funny as getting to roast them a little bit. But no, they of course they brought a lot of passion to the game. But they're getting ready to graduate, and I guess you are too, Susie. But and I guess Landon, I don't know where you stand on the whole graduation clock, but all the same, you guys are passionate about this, and again, it's somebody that I serve on the not the Student Yosef Advisory Board, but the Yosef Club Advisory Board. It'd be weird if I served on the Student Yosef Club Advisory Board, but
back to school, so
that's right.
Hey, tradition never graduates, AJ. Come on,
that's right.
Take a class and jump in.
That's right. Let's do it. Hey, and I have all 4 years of eligibility left for NCAA sports. So if they ever need,
we don't need you to play any sports.
I'm keeping the dream alive. I want to be the tea retrieval guy at one point. I want to, be the tea retrieval guy.
We will need to do one of those soon.
Yeah, soon. But no, so I guess I hope this isn't like a difficult question, but how can Student Yosef Club be something desirable that students say, I want to be part of that, and it's not just a one time I want to get in the gates? How can it be? It's got to be community related, I guess, but what will it take to get that to be a universally, you're not going to get everybody, but in general, I want to be part of Student Yosef Club?
That was one of the biggest initiatives that I came in and discussed was we want this to be a really desirable, we want it to be the most lucrative club membership that we have on campus. And I think that really starts with, being a diverse, very inclusive club and giving everyone the opportunity to come in and say, we want your voice to be heard. We want to take your ideas into account and, really kick this thing off. And I think that by doing that, we're just going to progress and lay the groundwork for that. And I think that we're really going to take a revitalization of the benefits that we already have, and we're going to bolster them up. I work in housing. And we're actually cultivating a partnership with housing, with the SYC. We're going to bridge that gap, and we're going to get as many students on campus involved as we can. And I think that's really going to bolster numbers. We want to get about 900 members by, I think, in the next 3 years, and even in the next 5 years, up those numbers even more, maybe crack 1,000.
Yeah.
So what will it mean then to be a member of Student Yosef Club?
Well, you're part of the athletics. You're part of the entire experience. Me joining Student Yosef Club, it's changed my entire view of athletics here at App State. I've been able to
Wow.
travel to away games and meet a lot of people, and it's just you create long-lasting friendships that it's just amazing.
And
So,
we would take, to start out as a student being in the Student Yosef Club, we would want to continue that even after post-graduation and have you in the general membership of the Yosef Club itself.
Yeah.
And I think that, this is the stepping stone and kind of like the roots of, benefits and, joining and going to road games. We went to Marshall. And
that was a blast.
It was a blast.
That was so much fun.
So hospitable, amazing.
For the most part, it was.
Yeah, for the most part.
Okay,
Yeah.
The ending wasn't what we wanted, but I mean the experience was fantastic. The
Yeah.
alumni are just amazing.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
And that's another big thing that we want. We want to create really passionate, really amazing alumni. When I walk into Kidborough Stadium, when I walk into the home center, I just feel energy. I feel energy. I feel excited. I feel the App family come around me and support me as a student going down there, and it's just a great experience.
So Susie, I'm really curious. You said that being part of Student Yosef Club has changed your experience at App State. It's just probably enhanced it. Is probably something you'd say. Give us some examples of that. So I mean, I would like a lot of students watching this to be curious and want to be involved. Like I said, you're not going to get everybody to want to join Student Yosef Club, but what are some examples that you've had that have enhanced the college experience for you directly related to being part of Student Yosef Club?
I think for me, the biggest attribute of Student Yosef Club is being able to get into the football games 15 minutes before gates open. I know you and I, we camp out and we stand in line hours before gates would even open just so we can get a nice spot right there by the 40 yard line-ish. And that for me, that was a big game changer because you have the best seat in the house to watch football.
I think one of the biggest things for me, echoing that, I'm going to give a shout out to Bailey Lang, my fellow band of Bibbooni, and we actually.
That's you guys? Are you guys the band of
that's us.
Bibboonies, right?
Yeah, Bailey wears he's notorious for having no shirt on under the bibs. I'm a little bit wimpier. I got something on. But I have the hard hat and the wig on, and he's got the hat and he goes nuts. But I just think it comes down to those friendships and the people that I have associated myself with. And I'm a first year grad student, so I have a year and a half left. But I told these guys, because they're really young, I said, you guys are going to be some of my best friends. You are some of my best friends, and people that I'm going to keep in contact with for the rest of my life. Coming in and traveling to games, coming back to Boone, coming to homecoming and being like, hey. We rocked this house for a long time, and we're still going to come back and rock it again. So I think the big pitch to students is when you join this club, it's like a family. Yeah. And the Yosef Club and our Alumni Association, because technically I am an alum, even though I'm a current student. It's amazing how much positive outreach they have.
I don't think people realize it until, especially students, until they get out. And they see what they miss, and then by then, you've kind of lost that opportunity to have that bridge between being a student and being a young alum and being a Yosef Club supporter. And I think that's really what the purpose of the Student Yosef Club, to me, at least from my viewpoint, is all about, is to make sure that, even if it's just a $25 a year or $85 for a 4-year commitment, whatever it is, then that next step is a whole lot easier, to go to $100 your first year when you have a job. And $100 a year isn't a lot, that's $8 a month. But, then you can go on to those next steps further down the road and increase donations and all that stuff. And that's what it's all about. And I think it can be somewhat understated a little bit, but like game days and having a group of people to go and hang out with every time, that stuff doesn't change when you're 20 or 30 or 40. It only gets stronger once you bring that passion back. So, I think that's something that most of the students really need to kind of realize. It's hard to do that at this age, but how do you get that message out?
So our goal right now is honestly to create buzz about the Student Yosef Club, and the best way to do that was through our election that we're having right now. Which right now all we have is Anna Catherine and Kelly. They're running against each other, which is still exciting. Let's just wait for chief of staff. Yeah.
So there is a contested election for chief of staff. Anna Catherine is going up against Kelly. So the students that do watch, please vote on Engage.
Mhm.
Please be an active participant if you're a Student Yosef Club member. There is an election that is being contested right now.
Yes. November 9th through the 13th.
Yeah, 9th through the 13th. Please go vote.
On the Engage page.
And the buzz that it's created has just been amazing. It's been phenomenal. The opportunity to come on BGP and talk to y'all is amazing. A lot of outreach, a lot of alums, a lot of students, a lot of listeners. So we really do appreciate the opportunity going back to getting the word out and creating a buzz, positive buzz.
So we want to get freshmen. We want to get them while they're young.
That's right.
Get them to join so they don't miss out on experience.
So I'm gonna make a confession here. I was in Student Yosef Club as a student, and the only reason I did it was to get the T-shirt. It was the first year that they had the cool throwback Yosef logo, and I wanted it bad. I was like, this is the only way I can get it. So I paid, and so I hear you guys talking about the friendships that you've made. But I mean, I was as diehard as they get, and I only joined for the T-shirt. Now, granted, now there wasn't Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook wasn't as I think fine-tuned as it is now to have groups and pages and whatever. I mean, I think Facebook's a lot better now than it was when I was in school at mass communication. So they didn't really get a hold of me to like say, hey, you're in Student Yosef Club. Then what does that mean though? So I understand that by having a group like Student Yosef Club, you connect a lot of students that have the common interest of what? Sports, App State sports. Okay. But in terms of sanctioned events and sanctioned like Student Yosef Club organized things, what can be done to get people like me who were huge App fans, but I just did it for the T-shirt. I think there could be some power in creating buzz, like you said, Landon. Like you can create buzz and get people to sign up, but then how do you, like I said, what does it ultimately mean? All right, I've signed up. I have my T-shirt. I'm going to get in the games 15 minutes early. Does it stop there or what other, you understand what I'm saying? Like sanctioned, planned Student Yosef Club activities to get people involved in some way centered around sports. What are some of these things? What are some ideas that can get more engagement, more activity besides just getting into games early?
Yeah. So unfortunately, right now with the pandemic, there's not a whole lot we can do, but we do have a lot of things in the work right now. We've been in contact with the Yosef Club to get approved because we want to have more engaging events for our members. And I feel like in the past that hasn't really been the case. And the best way to do that is we want to get the word out and communicate with our members, our Student Yosef Club members, to see what is it that you want so that we can make that happen.
Bouncing off on that, I think one of the, bridging that gap with housing, we want to have like random drawings so where we can just give prizes to Student Yosef Club members that live on campus. We want to do another initiative where Student Yosef Club members may potentially go into the stadium, and I mean that could be going on now if we do it very socially distanced and follow the protocol and the rules and the guidelines. But we want to put Throwback Thursday or Flashback Friday and have a retro game for App State that was big, like the Michigan game or the UNC game or a bowl game, and put that up on there and maybe cater popcorn and just have that event to socialize and mingle, meet members. And just gain a lot of those new positive friendships. We're in the works of potentially trying to do a contest with housing. I'm not really going to get to go into that because it's not all the fine details are there, but it's an initiative to have students become involved, and this is an event that we're going to have. I think going and doing things for the road as well is important. I know that we have tailgates at Ransom. I went to a couple last year; they were great, and we want to build off of those. And I think it's important, to support when we're at home and then when we're on the road, and we're going to build off the prizes. They had a great prize system last year. We want to build off of that. So those are just some of the things, that we think about, to have exclusive tailgates, to have exclusive benefits, to have exclusive, like not parties, but like events that are there. And I think that's the biggest piece that we're going to take away from it. So the social aspect will be there. It's just right now for COVID, we've kind of had to, pump the brakes a little bit. But after COVID restrictions get lifted and, we follow the state national guidelines for safety, I think that it's really going to take off.
Yeah, you can't say parties right now, right? Not live on Twitter. You can't say the parties right now, right?
You just can't tell them where you're going, AJ.
I'm stirring the pot a little bit. I can't help it. It's in my nature. I can't help it. But so I'm hearing what you're saying, and I like it. It just seems to me that, for example, with basketball, and this is something that the Cone Man, he kind of did on his own, which was showed up. Cone Man.
Don't disrespect his name like that.
He needs to grow up.
Definitely
grow up, Peter
boy.
Pan. Grow up, Peter Pan.
We love Cone Boy.
I'm not saying we don't love him. I'm not saying we don't love him. Okay, we're getting distracted. What he was able to do on his own, from his own passion. You guys have access to the database. You guys have the capacity to make these, like an exclusive Student Yosef Club Facebook group and organize trips to home center to like really be a force that kind of removes. And actually, I think it's a really great if you can get a hold of it and keep it going and create a process that you guys can create whatever the student section you want to be, right? So like the athletics department will tinker around with it and they'll put a banner halfway through the season and people are like, all right, whatever. But you guys can actually control what kind of student section you want to have because you have, like I said, access to the database and you have access to that's really, from a marketing perspective, that's really it. So you guys can control that stuff. And I think there's a lot of power in that to really change the environment, because I just feel like if you're able to do that and you make it fun, and that fun is kind of stemmed from the efforts of this group that I'm a part of, then it kind of becomes cool. Right? I mean, do you follow what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. Yeah. So yeah. I think, is that not something that could be done to, I don't know, like I'm my head's in basketball season mode. I feel like football really doesn't need a whole lot of hype, but you could center around more than, getting into football games 15 minutes early. It could be, and now I feel like I'm brainstorming in the middle of this whole thing, which I didn't mean to do, but that could be really cool. I mean, Student Yosef Club has the power, it feels like, to really make a push to create the student section in its own image, which I think is powerful.
Yeah. Oh.
Yes.
How about has it been considered? I'm just curious.
Can you guys hear us fine? Is it choppy on your end?
No, I can hear you.
Okay. It's a little choppy on our end, but we want to make sure you guys can hear us.
Yeah. Okay. No, I can hear you. I haven't seen anybody say anything about audio issues. Charles, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can always hear you, AJ.
It's because we're Bluetooth connected.
Well, I think kind of, AJ, what you're kind of getting at here is like having football doesn't need a lot of help, but other sports do. And so how do you create the buzz around those? Can you create like a subcommittee of Student Yosef Club members who are in charge of, say, I don't know how many, 15, 20 students, and say, we're going to make sure that baseball is important. We're going to make sure that a soccer match is important, and volleyball and so on.
And go.
Well, currently, right now, we do have a committee. It's called the Olympic Sports Committee, and their job is to focus on other sports that aren't as loved as football. And we have a partnership with the basketball marketing team, and we're working with them on how to market to get students to go to those games. And we can use those same tactics that we're using for basketball, for baseball, for wrestling, for tennis, for track and field, cross country, volleyball. What other sports am I missing?
Track and field,
field hockey.
Field hockey. Yeah.
Is there like some type of, is there like a priority kind of like system where you get points for attending, or is there any way to keep track of things like that?
That is something we're working on. We are hopefully going to put in place something like that, some sort of, I can't really say it, but in the future, we're working on it. We're actually proposals now, so when we're ready and we have the sources to do so, we are ready to launch that.
And I have a lot of friends that go to North Carolina, UNC, and they have something called Carolina Fever. And I always kind of liked a playoff of words for Mountaineers. And that was just something that we thought about, gain points, swipe your app card and get points, priority points for attending, those sports that need more buzz and need more hype. One of our initiatives is we're going to implement it's like almost like the guinea pig, so to speak, of a traveling student section. We've partnered with our club lacrosse team, and we've looked at their schedule, and we want to send some of our loyal, passionate fans down to cheer them on and see how that could work. Look at the logistics, look at the cost, look at how, we could really put this down on paper and have members sign up to say, hey, we got a big game in Columbia, South Carolina. Let's go. Let's go rep. Let's go support. We got a game in Virginia. Anywhere.
Yeah.
And I think that the traveling student section has been something that's been talked about for a long time. The idea is it hasn't been new, it's been floated around, but I think it's going to be a good Kickstarter to say, hey, if we can do this with our club lacrosse team, which is one of those sports that, needs that little oomph because they're a good team and we want to go out and support them. And that could be just the catalyst to be like, hey, we can do this with lacrosse. Now we can do it with bigger sports and sports that, have that.
Yeah, have I missed something? Is there a reason why? Did you guys do that for football, like away games, like going to Coastal, for example? I know this year's a little different, but would you not want to like organize and figure out from all the members who wants to go, carpool, split places down there? Is that something you guys have talked about?
Well, we've already made plans to go with the Band of Bid Boonies.
Yeah.
So we have that in the works, but due to COVID, you can only buy a certain amount of tickets.
Correct.
And it's a little more difficult to do that right now. So that's kind of why we want to start with club sports to see how that goes, and then we can implement it for our bigger sports.
That makes
logistics, but the logistics are there.
Yeah.
I've been in contact, through email, over the phone with my Band of Bid Boonies. And, I love planning trips. So when the opportunity arose, I was like, hey, tickets go on sale. They actually go on sale tomorrow at 9 a.m. We're going to be there ready to roll.
Yep.
We organize.
All four of us will be. We're all rolling at 9 a.m. Coastal doesn't know what's going to hit them tomorrow morning about that time.
Yeah.
It's a huge deal.
But no,
go ahead, Landon.
Oh, I was just saying, it's just something. It's definitely something we've been thinking about. We have in the works. We just want to make sure that it's pretty successful, and we have the logistical standpoint before we come in and just say, hey, this is what we're going to do. We've got a big football game in Statesboro. Let's go watch them kick Georgia Southern's butt because I'm tired of losing to Georgia Southern, and I think that trend gets reversed this year. So, fingers crossed.
And I think and especially if you can get, and this is why I think it's important to have someone that maybe likes plan trips to be in a leadership position, because you can scale that out and say we can carpool. If who's want to drive, who's want to carpool, here's what it's roughly would be in gas and expenses or whatever, and we're going to go here. And like if you have somebody or multiple people that can do that, and you can kind of make that like a traveling road show in a way. I know you have it with your Bid Boonies, but when you have access to that list of students that are part of this club, and then part of the resource or the perks of being in here is like, hey, we're getting all this info about how we can travel to games and stuff, and then we all get together, and I think there's a ton of great opportunity for that.
Absolutely, I agree with you, Alex.
Yeah,
just the opportunity to kind of like act like a travel agent to an extent. It's like, hey, we've got a couple hotels over here that are affordable. This is the time to leave. This is the time to avoid traffic, depending on where you're going and all that good stuff. But like, I think it all makes sense.
Yeah, for sure. All right. Well, Susie and Landon, I want you guys to speak freely about why students that are listening to this or will listen to this eventually should join the Student Yosef Club. Go ahead and pour your heart and soul. Not that you haven't already, but go ahead and make your pitch.
We missed the last part of your sentence that cut out.
No, I'm saying just make your pitch to join Student Yosef Club. Did that work?
Okay.
Yes. Yeah, that works. Yeah, to anyone listening, hello. My name is Landon, Vice President, and I just want to let you know that Student Yosef Club has been one of the greatest opportunities for me to network, make friends, and just be a part of a family. I don't think I've really been a part of a family since I was in high school on my cross country team, but I have found a family and found a home here in the Student Yosef Club. I am proud to serve. I am proud to be a part of it. So if you want to be a part of an exclusive club where you can make some of the lifelong friends and be a part of something that's really big and a part of a great energetic game day buzz across the board for every single one of our sports, I would encourage you to join the Student Yosef Club.
I can tell you it is the best, either $25 or $85 you'll ever spend. It goes beyond just getting a t-shirt and a sticker and what else we get. That's basically getting that packet. But it's more than that. You create long last just family. You guys are great. But it's just
I love it.
But no, you need to join because you're surrounded by people who love sports just as much as you do, or maybe even more, and you're able to find your group and you're able to find your ground here at App State. And we know that sometimes it's hard to find people that you can get along with. I know it's hard to get up and move and go to a college where you don't know anybody. And this is a time to get together people that you know or don't know, but you're going to get to know, that you share the same interests. And it's just amazing that you can go and travel and create these bonds and these memories that are going to last forever.
Great.
So that $25 to $85 goes a long way.
It's worth it.
It's a game changer. And I wish I joined executive board earlier than this past semester.
So do I.
I'm so thankful to have the opportunity right now to be a part of it. And I would love to get more students involved in the executive board. And that's another reason why you should join, is to help us create the student section that you want to see.
Yep.
Yes. I love it. I love it.
Absolutely.
Say it. Oh, you went out and we didn't hear you, Landon's last. He looked like he screamed. It's okay.
Oh no.
Don't worry about it.
I just said grow with us.
Grow with us.
Grow with us.
Grow with us.
Yes,
All right, very good.
He's 21.
That's it.
I love it.
Well,
Thanks, guys. We're gonna wrap it up. Thanks for spending your time with us. Go vote, and for the chief of staff, and join Student Yosef Club, everybody. See ya.